Hello guys, Dr.Pitanger there, and today, as I said yesterday in a post, I'm gonna make a little video to explain my thoughts about the new units in CN like usual. So we have a new Primal Defender, a new type of sniper, a new archetype of sniper, and a new Artificer, so the second 6-star Artificer after this guy that what's his name? Yeah, Stainless. I swear I wasn't even playing dumb, like I literally forgot his name. Anyway, let's preface with something. So I6 is right around the corner, like I6 should be released in around 2 weeks or something, so the meta is likely about to change. I haven't really informed myself about what's the new meta is gonna be. All that I know is that, well, there won't be any Lamp of Wish, so this is probably not gonna be that much of an offensive recovery meta, I assume. I am basing this unit on the current meta in global, so it's not really a good idea, but I won't spoil myself about the Chinese content just to establish whether these units are gonna be good or not. Let's start with Skybox, so the new 5-star welfare. It's a new archetype. It's a very weird archetype because the archetype itself says that the unit is hovering in the air when his skill is not active, so it's basically a reverse Sky Ranger, or pretty much like Lazy Alter in some way. The range is the range of a close range sniper, so things like Poziomka, and while he's in the air, so while his skill is not active, he will only target aerial units, and when he crashes on the ground, when his skill is active, he will now also damage melee units and deal AoE damage, so he becomes pretty much an AoE sniper. The S1 is very straightforward because it's only some damage, and S2 is a bit like roNE in that it has ammos. If you stop the skill, it will shoot all the remaining ammos, this kind of stuff. I thought at first that this unit would have a crazy mechanic because his talent said disable enemy special ability, and I was like, is that like a stronger silence? Turns out it's actually just silence, it's literally silence. So it's still interesting because a sniper that silences is okay, I would say. But here's the thing about this unit is that there's very few chance, I would say, that his archetype will have an offensive recovery skill. I don't think it will ever work with Archetto, unfortunately. However, I do want to say that this is once again a very interesting new archetype, and this is also once again a very interesting welfare. I really like the fact that Hyperglyph seems to be releasing more and more interesting welfares, because let's be honest, a lot of 5-star welfares used to be very shit. Like, I still can't get over the fact that we got, for example, Briofita after like 2.5 years or something. Anyway, I don't expect Skybox to be completely broken, nor do I even expect him to be playable, but the thing is, that's a pretty good unit for a new player because it will cover a lot of roles, and the most important part about him is that we are now speculating about the 6-star representative of his archetype. Is it gonna be good? Is it not gonna be good? What is it gonna be about? Is it gonna bypass the only attack aerial units restriction, pretty much like Whistle bypass the attack only ground unit restriction? We don't know, but one thing for sure is that this is a very interesting archetype, and yeah, I actually can't wait to see what is gonna turn out. On to Cairn, so this is an unbelievably basic kit. So the talent is just when she blocks, she inflicts nervous impairment. Okay, S1 is gain max HP plus 130% max HP, which is actually a fuck ton of max HP. With a lot of max HP, she might be able to perform actually pretty well as a defender in IS. Her S2 gives her less HP and in the form of a barrier, but she is now also able to deal nervous impairment damage and arse damage in the surrounding tiles. The arse damage is pretty negligible, and the nervous impairment damage is even worse. So like, why is it only 10%? We don't know. This is unbelievably shitty. This plus her PSA will probably allow her to inflict nervous impairment, but still, that's only for 10 seconds. I mean, I really can expect this unit to be very good. You will be able to tank a boss for 10 to 15 seconds depending on the attack speed. It's still probably never gonna be used. I don't know, it could be like a very tech strategy if you approach like the end of a run and you realize, oh, I have no way to stall this boss, whether it's the boss summoned by a Mia or whether it's a Keylon. You'd have no Ethan, you have no Chao Bai, and you tell yourself, oh, I get a defender, maybe I could recruit this unit. I really don't believe it. This seems pretty fringe. You might as well recruit something like Mantra or Tragodia, you know, this kind of stuff. I really don't expect this unit to perform well. Some people are probably gonna try this S1, right? Because again, 130% max HP is quite a lot, but you can probably forget about this unit, I think. And finally, we have Nasty, so the new 6-star Artificer. So the talent is pretty good. She gives SP regeneration to range units, so it's pretty much a weaker version of Telopsis, but it's like saying it's a weaker version of one of the best talents in the game, so it's not a very good indicative. Also, I'm pretty sure they can stack together, so it's not an issue. S1 passively boosts the defense of the device. During the skill, she herself gains attack and defense, attacks enemies equal to block count, and the device gives more block and more defense. This is very interesting because if you use the device on her, she will be able to block 3 and attack 3 at the same time, even at E1, which makes her pretty much an E2 Centurion for a limited time. So that's a decent idea if you want to start with her, I would say, and if you don't want for some reason to start with Tragodia, probably not a good idea. Probably not a good idea to start with her instead of Tragodia, right? But still, like, if you are tired of playing Tragodia at some point, maybe you can try her. I'm not sure. This might be playable. S2, so I really misunderstood the S2. A lot of people corrected me in the comments. So she can actually generate 1 SP every 4 seconds from what I understand, and you can even stack these devices. So this becomes a pretty good SP regeneration tool actually. This plus her passive, I would expect this skill to be actually pretty good. It's a very simple effect, give barrier and gives SP, alright, sure, but at the same time a very effective one. So on to the main event, her S3, which is basically a reclamation algorithm mechanic, right? She's now able to build range tides. So this is really funny. It takes her 50 seconds to build the basic range tide, and then if you want to upgrade it, which will increase the damage of the unit on it, it will take her 100 more seconds, so for a grand total of 150 seconds. The attack buff, I believe, is multiplicative, so oddly enough, that means that it works really well with units with a lot of attack, so for example Fartooth and Ifrit. If you want to, for example, make your own Fartooth tide or your own Ifrit tide, you now can, which is very funny, not gonna lie. But anyway, even if you don't want to play these units, you can simply like play a Mecha Code caster like Lapdom, like GG, you know, this kind of stuff, or even Embryo, obviously. So whether I think this is gonna be playable or not, I'm not sure. Like, the issue is you really don't want to spend 6 hope or 7 hope in higher difficulties in a 6-star supporter, in my opinion. And if you want to, it's only to recruit Tragodia and nothing else. I don't think having an SP battery is good enough for 7 hope. If you want an SP battery, you can simply recruit Quercus, right? At the same time, do you want more SP batteries in I6? Again, this is impossible to judge right now because I haven't played the game, right? I barely know what it looks like. So yeah, this is only speculation. If you feel like you need to gain SP at some point, then maybe it could be useful. The thing is, this SP gain is also available at E1. It might be a good idea to recruit at the very end of a run when you think like, oh, I don't have enough SP regeneration, I don't have initial SP, you know, this kind of stuff. It could be an interesting unit to recruit at the end of a run. This kind of unit that doesn't even have to be E2. Of course, you wouldn't have the range tide, but you would still have the SP battery skill, which is S2, right? So yeah, maybe this is good enough to be recruited at the very end of a run. I don't know, we'll have to test it out. Finally, we have the new modules. So these are Chain Medic modules, so the healing reduced is only reduced now by 15%, which is okay, but Monster wasn't played for her healing output anyway, and Paprika and Papyrus weren't played, period. Monster now grants a stronger attack buff, which was expected, and also makes it so that the next heal doesn't have its healing weakened after the first bounce, which again is kind of whatever in IS, I would say, but if you want just more healing output, sure, but this is definitely not something that will make Monster even more outrageous than she was, right? The attack boost is still plus 10% compared to its original value, so it's pretty good. Also, she gains like plus 65 attack. Oddly enough, the attack boost and the plus 65 attack are actually the most interesting part of this module. Like, the rest is really kind of whatever. Paprika and Papyrus get the same upgrade, so I'm gonna skim through very fast about this. I don't think Paprika and Papyrus are gonna get played anyway. Papyrus gets a stronger barrier. Papyrus gains a stronger heal. These are whatever, like these units were never gonna get used, and they will never gonna get used unless they get the craziest hand ever in IS, I'm afraid. Nasty herself got her talent, which boosts pretty much all of her stats, reduces the SP cost of her devices, and makes it so that the first device she deploys actually doesn't even cost any DP, which is okay. okay. It means she doesn't need a Vanguard that much, which is alright. And finally, Rey got her second module, which gives her a pretty huge boost in attack and attack speed, and also makes it so that she can have one more stack, which is alright, I would say. More attack on Rey is okay, but I think people have already made calculations, and basically the damage output from this module is pretty much gonna be the same as the previous one, so if you want to unlock this module, that's fine. If you have already unlocked the previous one, probably not the best idea. Like, these are gonna be very similar. And so there you go, guys. These were my analysis of the new units in CN for IS. I know I'm very late, I had a lot of things to do. Again, this is probably the most useless analysis because, well, there's no alpha module. These units don't seem like they're gonna shake the meta at all, and IS-6 is right around the corner. I think all these units are pretty much whatever. Maybe I'm completely wrong and nasty will be nasty, haha, laugh. But we're gonna see. For now, I'm not too convinced about any of these. So anyway, thank you for watching this little analysis. Leave a like, subscribe, and see you in the next video.